Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. Today, I want to react to some of Marissa's, I guess, older TikToks. I don't know if she's like recycling content or whatever, but I don't think I've reacted to these before. So let's go ahead and go for it. But they're kind of like her rules for fat phobia. I don't know if I'm going to respond to all of them, but I'm going to respond to this one. So let's go. I haven't listened to this one completely. So let's see what we got.
Welcome back to my new series, everybody. This is where I teach you about things that are fat phobic that you may not have known are fat phobic. So, the third thing on the list has to do with silencing fat people. So, if you see a fat person talking about their experience in their fat body, and your first reaction is to tell them to shut the fuck up or to be quiet because nobody cares, ring a ding ding, that's fat phobia. Because telling a fat person to silence themselves.
Okay. I don't even know what even is the standard. So she's making the argument that telling somebody to shut up is some kind of deep, systemic bigotry type of thing that has ties to deep cultural issues or whatever. That's basically what she's trying to argue here. So, by that logic, if I tell anybody to shut up, or if you tell anybody to shut up, then is that not also bigotry? That is so stupid. That's just being kind of bitchy or being a bit of an asshole or getting sick of hearing somebody complain about things that they could do something about, that refuse to do anything about. There are people that get tired of it. So, at a certain point, especially within obesity, a lot of people complain about obesity all the time. And again, I will bring it up because I always do, because I'm that bitch. But a part of toxic ritualistic mindsets, aka E followed by the letter D, is you always have something to complain about. That's one of the biggest things for people that have B followed by the letter E followed by the letter D. You want to be able to complain about your weight. You want to be able to complain about your body. That's why you constantly do it, because it is a distraction from bigger issues in your life. So people get sick of hearing that over and over and over again, when it's literally you're like holding this dagger to your heart that you could take out at any time. You have the ability to do it. Just because you have created a mental prison doesn't mean that it's real. But it does mean that one of the things are you're going to talk about it all the time. It's a source of drama. It's endless drama, endless intrigue. Oh gosh, this is happening, that's happening. Oh gosh, this is happening. Da 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 da. People get tired of it. They do. They really do. Especially over years and years and years, people get tired of it. So while I can see both sides, like I understand, I've been there. I've been the one constantly complaining about my weight or constantly doing this, that, the other. Some people would probably say, oh gosh, like that's your whole channel, Alex. Da, da, da. Like, who are you to say? But to me, it's like, well, sure, but it's here. I don't do it as much in real life because I've lost weight and I don't have as many issues now. I know, it's shocking. It took a long time. It took 120 pounds of loss, but I got there where I don't talk about it as much. Sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, like it's challenging to still lose weight. But compared to how much I used to talk about it when I was really in the toxic ritualistic, it's not even comparable. It's not even comparable. In fact, most of my friends and family, they would know that I have other topics that I fixate upon these days. And y'all know. And if you're watching, keep your mouth shut. No, I'm just kidding. You better shut up. No, I'm just kidding. No, but the topics have shifted. Now it's more about like money or, I'm terminally single or Taylor Swift or something. It's just different. It has changed. It has changed. And you may be shocked, but there are even times where I'm listening to what other people are complaining about these days, which I know is a huge shock. I actually listen to other people's stuff. at this point. Wow. It's truly wild, truly liberating. Okay, I'm really sassy today because I went to the gym yesterday. I think I told you guys already, but oh my gosh. We're gonna have to do more. I'm gonna have to like exploit my sassiness.
Because you're tired of hearing about them complain or advocate for their equal equality in our universe?
Equal equality. A lot of times when fat people are complaining, they're complaining about health issues. They're complaining about dating issues. They're complaining about things that are not exactly legal rights or that have to do with like the courts or something. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't really ever paid a visit to the court of fatness. I've never done it. I've never seen a Supreme Court decision of a fatitude. I haven't seen it. I haven't, listened to a sermon about the great the great fat attitudes on the hill. Okay? People are not really talking about it in this kind of like political, religious way that you guys are. Most people do not exist on this continuum. So when they're telling somebody to shut up, while it can be harsh, it's usually health issues, dating problems, that kind of stuff, which people get tired of hearing about because to most people, which is reality, they feel like you are in a self-imposed thing, which for the most part, that is true. Even if it's difficult to get out, you can, and most people would be more than willing to hear you complain about getting out, about the way out. That's literally this channel, and I love y'all for supporting me on here. But literally, because if they feel like you're going towards something, people can buy in better, and they're less likely to tell you to shut the fuck up. When you're just sitting there wallowing in it, people get tired of it. I know that it's hard, but that's not a deep bigotry. I'm sure they listened the first few hundred times. Okay?
Yeah, that's fat phobia. So stop silencing fat people and then you can unlearn your fat phobia. Okay.
Okay, let's find another one. I'm not satiated yet. Okay, we found another one. I don't know what she's going to say.
Welcome back to my new series, everybody, where I teach you things that are fat phobic that you may not have known are fat phobic. Part 5. So next on the list is going to be having a preference. Now, yes, everyone has a preference. Well,
she has such an issue. What did I tell you? It's usually dating issues or health issues. 9 times out of 10. That's what it is. People get sick of it. They get sick of hearing about it.
But when you have a preference, you know what that means? It means you still like the two options, but you just prefer one over the other. That's what preference means. Not that you hate the other option. Preferring something still means that you like both options, but you just...
Not semantics. Means they're not attracted to. They're not attracted to you. I think people could probably say I'm typically not attracted to a fat person. Maybe, sure. But I think we could just leave it as I'm not attracted to you. Period. I don't think we need explanations. We don't need to like dive into all this stuff or give reasons or any of these things. I do think dating apps can be cringe, or it's like, I don't like this. It's a little bit cringy to me because I think it's cringe personally. It's like, if you like somebody, respond to them. If you don't. On an app anyway. It doesn't have to be that deep. In my opinion, it just doesn't. So, yeah, I think that type of stuff is cringy. But it's also like, it's anybody's prerogative. If somebody asks you, what is your type? What are you into? Then, of course, it's fine to answer. But it's like, I think it is cringy to put it on blast like that because you don't always, in my opinion, you're not always sure. it's always like a person to person moment. Maybe there's certain things where you're like, oh, hell no, I would never. But again, I don't know. I just I just think it's cringe all around. It's cringy to care, and it's cringy to like put out a list of topicals, because to me it's kind of like, who the hell are you? Either way, basically. Who the hell is Marissa, and who the hell is the person listing a topical? I think it's cringe.
Just prefer one over the other. So saying that you prefer thin people and that's your type, that's fine. But when you say it in that context, that still means that you like both options. So misusing the term incorrectly and then doing that on top of it, it's fat phobia. Welcome back to my new...
That is just, it's just a semantics thing. I think people are trying to be nice when they say prefer. Should they say, I don't like fat people at all? I guess she would prefer that. She would prefer that. I don't care. I know what people are saying. Oh my gosh, I need to look at this comment. The best thing you can do for yourself is to use all this energy you have to talk about being fat, turn it into motivation to eat better and try to be healthy. I think I've said that before. I think that was a 2023 Alex take, something similar. I'm not saying this person's copying me. I'm just saying, like, I would say something like that back then. She says, you assuming I don't eat well or that I'm not healthy is fat phobic. So instead of projecting your own fat phobia onto me, why don't you just be quiet and unlearn your fat phobia? Marissa, you can't tell people to shut up. That's bigotry. That's bigotry. Marissa, that's bigotry. We established that. Let me find another one. I'm not done yet. I'm not. Okay, I think I've seen this one before and I already forgot it. So let's go ahead and watch it again. For me anyway. For you guys, I don't know if you've seen it.
Welcome back to my new series, everybody, where I teach you about things that are fat phobic that you may not have known are fat phobic. Part 6. We're going to take it all the way back to the dating
Back to dating. Always dating, isn't it?
apps. When someone puts something in their bio that says, I like people who are active. Now that is a statement that insinuates and assumes that all fat people are lazy and don't work out and don't move. Therefore, having that in your...
I don't agree with her. I think it's fine to say that because there are thin people who aren't active. There are fat people who are active. I get it. I've had people be shocked that I was active as a fat person, especially like when I was younger. I get it. But, when you're super morbidly obese, there's going to be certain limits there for sure. Like, I may have been out hiking and stuff, but I couldn't, like, hike on par with somebody who was in shape or, like, do that kind of thing. But I think having an active lifestyle, that is a lifestyle. It's a specific thing. Are you sedentary? Yes, then that person is not going to be interested in you, regardless of if you're fat or not. Sorry. Because an active lifestyle, I understand, it means you're going out, you exercise every day pretty much, or you go on hikes all the time, or you do certain things. And people who aren't like that, they're not going to be a match. That's perfectly valid, in my opinion. She's assuming a motive behind it, which there could be part of it, or certainly a correlation, because a lot of fat people are not active, regardless of what she thinks. A lot aren't. So there is a correlation. But yeah.
Your bio is fat phobia. Now, you could have any number of things in your bio like this that could be considered fat phobic. Likes a partner who has an
I don't think this is fat phobic at all. I'm sorry.
active lifestyle.
I told you guys, I'm not even all in on fat phobia. But to say that this is some kind of bigotry, it's ridiculous.
prefers a partner who works out. Those are just code ways to say I don't like fat people, which is fine, sure. But to be blatantly fat phobic is not okay.
It's not blatant. You just said it's a code. Is it coded or is it blatant? You need to pick a narrative. You're like losing it within this one TikTok.
There are other ways to go about this. Just don't match with fat people. It's that simple. Stay tuned for the next part.
I think that's fair. That part is fair, but you can still say that on your profile too. I don't see how that's an issue. Okay, I'm still not done. I think I want to do at least one more. I'm going to try to find one. I'll be back. Okay, I think this is a good one to end it on. I'm going to pretend Marissa's talking to me. Okay, in this one. I'm just going to pretend. I know it's not real. I know. I'm not Delulu. I'm just pretending, okay?
Just a friendly reminder, everybody. Just because a fat person loses weight doesn't mean that ends fat phobia. Weight loss doesn't make fat phobia go away. The only thing that will end fat phobia is if everybody unlearns their fat phobia. And treating fat people like equals and like basic human beings, that'll stop fat phobia as well. Just a
Okay. So I want to react to it piece by piece now.
friendly reminder, everybody. Just because a fat person loses weight doesn't mean that ends fat phobia.
So this goal, again, I don't even really believe in fat phobia as a concept, but if we were to buy into it, she believes, most people in fat acceptance believe that fat phobia is systemic, societal, and intrapersonal, so within ourselves. And she's saying losing weight will not get rid of that bigotry. But what I'm saying is, if you're applying something that even goes within somebody, within every single person, by their logic, every single human being has an internalized fat phobia in their view. It is an unachievable goal. It is specifically unachievable. It is chosen to be unachievable so they can bitch about it forever. That's basically what it is, because it is an impossible standard that will never happen. This will never happen.
Weight loss doesn't make fat phobia go away.
Neither does your content. Neither does anything you do, say. Nothing will make it go away. By your logic, nothing will make it go away. So everything you're doing is a complete waste of breath. Okay? Because talking about it and shaming and all these things, that's not going to make fat phobia go away either. That's like, because when we think about where is it really coming from, phobia is an irrational fear, which I get that a lot of people in left-wing spaces, they use phobia as like a bigotry, whatever concept. I don't think it applies within fatness. I just don't. There has never been laws made on the basis of fatness. There's never been societal stratification based on fatness. There's never been, a fat water fountain versus a thin one. None of these things have happened. There's never been a fat blank O-side. None of this has occurred. So I don't buy into that at all, period. I buy into it as an actual irrational fear, which what is an irrational fear? It's a fear that doesn't make sense. So when people have fat phobia, an irrational fear of fatness, it's because they're probably not existing within a caloric realistic mindset. So they think they have magical beliefs about fatness. So either fatness is genetic, if I breathe, I'm going to gain weight, or whatever. People have really, really bizarre, neurotic, toxic ritualistic mindsets about fatness that don't make sense. Once you understand caloric realism, you will not have an irrational fear. I don't have an irrational fear of fatness. I know exactly what causes it. I know exactly how to get rid of it. So there's no fear. It's just whatever. It becomes blasé. It becomes boring really quickly. But again, sometimes we like to believe in a boogeyman because that boogeyman can distract us from the issues, the real issues in our lives. And that's exactly what this is. And this is exactly what I believe Marissa is using her fat acceptance rhetoric as. She has supplanted her E followed by the letter D with fat acceptance rhetoric. So it's another thing for her to distract herself with. That person's being fat phobic. That person's being fat phobic. This is fat phobia. This is fat phobia. This is fat phobia. This is fat phobia. Boom, 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 boom. It's a constant. It's still that same anxiety, that same avoidance of real life issues. She's still using it. And she does have issues. I'm not trying to shame her for that. I know she has trauma. She has talked about it. She even said, I think she said that she has had like head injuries and just, I don't know if that's right, but she says that she has like a lot of trauma, okay, in her past. And I don't shame her for that, regardless of, what the trauma is. But I've heard her say a lot of different things. She's really talks about having ADHD and just a lot of other stuff, a lot of issues. And I don't shame her for that whatsoever, but I still will shame her for using fat acceptance as a distraction from those issues, just like an E followed by the letter D. It's the same thing in a different way. And honestly, it could even be combined. It could be within the same realm, which is why I talk about this differently and why I don't really go down the road of like systemic this and da-da-da-da-da and political action that. You're not going to politically legislate your E followed by the letter D away. That's never going to happen. That's insanity to believe that. And that's what a lot of these people think. It ain't going to happen. It's not going to work. It really, really isn't. It's an impossible standard. But again, within these mindsets, there are always impossible standards so that we do fail. Because part of the psychology behind it is consistent failure, because then you know what's coming. And it's the same thing with weight loss efforts. If I consistently fail, then I know what's coming. And part of this year for me, as somebody with a legacy of toxic ritualistic behaviors, part of that was realizing that I'm no longer failing. And so now I don't know what's going to happen anymore. And it freaked me the fuck out this year. And that's been a major thing I've been dealing with all year long, is not knowing what's going to happen and dealing with the fact that I don't have complete control over my life anymore because I'm not doing this ritual anymore. And that's a whole other bag of worms. That doesn't even make sense. Can of worms. And that's what she's trying to avoid. That's what a lot of people are trying to avoid. They don't want that uncertainty. And I trust me, it's tough, but it's a lot better to just sit with that and get past it than to stay in the ritual. And using political activism in whatever, way is not going to do anything. It just isn't. You're still going to be miserable, Marissa. All of you are still going to be miserable. Absolutely miserable. Because living that way is never okay. It's not acceptable. And I will never advocate for it to be accepted. It shouldn't be. It absolutely should not be accepted.
The only thing that will end fat phobia is if everybody unlearns their fat phobia. And, treating fat people like equals and like basic human beings.
The only thing that will get rid of the pain of this is to deal with the trauma, deal with your triggers, and stop the behavior and get out of the mindset. That's what will help. Hope that helps. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good rest of your day, night, etc. I'll be back with a podcast episode tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.